good evening, and welcome to Off the Court, a production of WCTV Sports. I'm Paul Geigle, and we're here each and every week with head coach Kevin Brogioli from the Wareham Viking varsity squad. Coach, another episode here in our third season, and congratulations to 300 wins.
Thank you very much.
And we were hoping it would come Tuesday night in that first matchup against Bourne, but it wasn't to be. But
I was hoping it was going to come against Dayton Rehoboth 6 games in the season, but you got to take it when you can get it, and I was very grateful to get it, and it's just a testament to a lot of good talent, assistant coaches, and players that I've had over the years.
Yeah, speaking of assistant coaches, you had some kind words to say about Larry Senna, who's been with you since.
Larry Senna was on the bench with me the first varsity game 17 years ago. He's volunteered his time every single year.
Wow.
But I mean, Stephen Faneuil's been with me for 8 or 9 years now as well, and Stephen's a great tactician, really understands the game and breaks it down into small parts that are very helpful to the squad. Yeah,
and a testament to Stephen is the JV boys have just been tremendous the last few years I've been watching.
Absolutely, he's a teacher of the game.
Yeah, it's a great feeder system coming into the varsity, and of course they're your scouts too when you can't be there, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So I've been blessed with dedicated, loyal assistants and talented basketball players.
Right, and it was really nice to see that you'd be able to do this. Your dad's still here, which was good, and it was a great. Christian and I were watching from upstairs. We saw a great photo of you, Dave, your brother Dave, and your father. That was a really nice shot. And speaking of Dave here, before we get into the Bourne game, the first game of last week, the girl Viking varsity team had a tournament, first annual. Dave ran the tournament along with some Ed Rodericks, and good tournament. We got to see a good Foxborough a good-looking Foxborough team, and also a good-looking coach too, Lisa Downs. I know it's going to get there. My wife doesn't watch the show, so I think I'm safe, but you never know. But no, it was a great tournament. Was Dave happy with the way it went? I
think so. He was hoping to get a split out of it going in realistically, and that's what he was able to get.
Yeah, there were some great games. They had a great game, a 2-point game against New Bedford, right? And then we get to see Foxborough just destroy Sandwich. But the game the next night, Dave's team had a nice win against Sandwich.
That's correct.
So, and then I think the next game they played, they strung 2 in a row.
Yeah, they've won 5 out of their last 6.
Yeah, so hey, get out there and watch the girls. They're doing well and on their way to maybe another tournament trip to the tourney, maybe.
That's the goal.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get back to boys basketball and the game at Bourne, Coach. You both went into the game with only 1 loss in the SCC. You had scouted the Bourne team. What were your plan going into the game? You had a young freshman guard out there who was highly touted. So what was your plan on stopping that kid?
My plan was to play good defense. Primary responsibility was to stop Ashworth. He's their best player, their leading scorer, and Matt Griggs did a good job on him, I thought, for most of the game. But they had some other players step up as the game went on. Their big guy, Schaefer, had a good game for them, for him. I thought Bourne actually played about as good a game as Bourne can play.
Right.
And having said that, we still had our chances down the stretch. I mean, we had an 11-point lead at halftime, and you should be able to win with an 11-point lead at halftime. Yeah,
it was a very competitive first quarter. I think the only thing of concern was watching that young David Lane, the freshman, how fast he was.
Right.
And when you had your first opportunity to call a timeout, what did you say to your team to try to stop him from getting that ball and flying up the court?
So you got to stop him in transition. That was the problem. Just once he got a full head of steam, it was hard for Michael Labonte to stay in front of him. But so he told him to backpedal and make him hit a jump shot before we stop his penetration first.
Right. So the quarter ended 20. They had a 3-point lead on you, but you guys came out and played a tremendous second quarter. You outscored them 22-8. You held them to single digits, so you had to be happy with that going into the locker room.
Going into the locker room, I thought we had righted the ship and we were going in the right direction. Unfortunately, we went in the wrong direction in the third quarter.
Yeah, and 7 points. They held you to 7 points. I can't remember seeing a Wareham team held to 7 points in a quarter.
It was not one of our shining moments.
No, it wasn't.
Unfortunately.
No, and so But at the end of the third, it was still a 4-point game. They were ahead 50 to 46. You had 46 there. So in the last quarter, it got really back and forth. We had a seesaw battle back and forth. And then I know there were some questionable calls in that game. And of course, I think we'll go to the last minute and what was it, 10 seconds, 6 seconds when Andy White had the ball down the right wing. 2 defenders in front of him, the whistle. And I'm thinking, I didn't see a travel. I'm thinking, geez, they're going to call a charge on that? I mean, it was very little contact. So did you get an explanation about that from the
I did, other than they said he traveled,
Yeah.
and my point was he was about 40 feet from the hoop. It was on a handoff to him, so it wasn't like there was any advantage gained. Even if it were a travel, there was no advantage gained.
Yeah.
And usually at that situation, the ref doesn't make that call. So that was disappointing, but you got to overcome those kinds of calls, and we still had our chances down the stretch.
So just to go back, right after that, Bourne gets possession of the ball, and some time expires. Now they have a timeout. Coach Ashworth calls a timeout, and I don't know, it's like 22 seconds or so on the clock. You got a timeout. What are you telling your players now? What do you think's going to happen?
Is this when they had the ball for the last possession?
Yes, the last possession.
All right, so yeah, I think it was 11 seconds left at that point, and what we thought was going to happen is what they tried to do was to get the ball to
The big guy.
No, the Ashworth is what they wanted to do,
right.
and they couldn't. And we played great defense on it, so the play got broken basically, and that's when Smith, right? Lane.
Yeah, the Lane got the ball.
Spun around, got a step on Mikey on the baseline.
Right.
Derek Garriott did his job, stepped over to take away that drive to the hoop, and Lane made a great over-the-shoulder pass to Schaefer there for that little 4-footer with 2 seconds left.
Just a little runner into the late, and then there was only like, what, 2 point something left, so it
2
was
seconds left.
pretty
So
tough to,
we had a play design, but it got either tipped or we didn't get the catch that we needed at half court to finish that play.
So a tough loss.
That's an understatement.
I know it bothers you, but we were just talking about this before we were on camera, and there's a big game tomorrow night in Bourne, and if Bourne pulls that upset, I guess it would be an upset. It changes the whole complexion of the South Coast Conference again.
Could be the first time I ever rooted for Bourne.
Okay, so anyway, we lose the game. It's very disappointing. Now we're going to come home to Case. And the thing about Case, though, Tim Plant's a great coach, and he just had a big win before that game, 73-70 at home against Greater New Bedford Vogue.
Right.
Yeah.
And Vogue had just beaten Bourne, so go figure.
I know. It's crazy South Coast Conference season right now, right? And but the bad thing about Case is they had to play a back-to-back game, and they went to Sandwich and got demolished, 84-42. So, but at least they had a day's rest. But you got a game against Case. It's at home. Seemingly, most likely you're going to win the game, but you got another game the next following day. And you got the kids, who are they, Decker and
right, it's at Distributive
Science
Education
Fair
Clubs
too,
of
right?
America. That was the primary thing where 9 of my 12 players were on a field trip, an overnight field trip to Quincy, a school-sponsored field trip. So there was not a lot of sleep that was had by my team the night before, and it quite frankly looked like it several times during that game.
Well, just walking into the gym, you could see they were a little
low energy level. I felt.
Exactly, just what you want to see, right? But anyway, it was a big game for your offense. I think they played very well. 4 good, steady quarters. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think we actually scored maybe 30 points the last quarter or something.
Yeah, that was the biggest fourth quarter I think I've seen in Wareham since maybe Darien. Maybe there was one night where Darien lit it up that you guys got 29, 30, or 31. But yeah, I was looking at my stats. You outscored them 30-9 in the fourth quarter. Incredible. And I think you guys shot field goal wise 49%, 32 for 65 from the floor.
I'll take that any day.
Yeah. Now turnovers, 15-11. You guys had 11, and Case had 15. Just a little worried about the turnover
ratio? Yeah, you always want to minimize that. The turnover can be a 4-point swing in a ball game.
Yeah.
So you want to minimize those whenever you can.
Right. So when you get a target for getting your turnovers down to a certain level, what would you like to see?
I think anytime you get single digits, if we play an up-tempo game and we have single-digit turnovers, I'm okay with that. If you were a slower possession team, I'd want fewer than that. But fast break basketball teams do turn the ball over sometimes. But it's the mental mistakes you want to get rid of.
Yeah, and a lot of traveling calls. I mean, is it the tough, close calls that the refs are doing, or is it really some kids are just not thinking when they're
I think
stopping?
some kids are trying to move before they put the ball down on the ground sometimes, trying to get that little extra jump start.
Yeah. So I mean, just as practice goes along, we're gonna
try to work on the fundamentals.
Cut that down. Yeah. Yep. Right. Yeah. Okay. And I know you've been working on some new offensive plays. How is that progressing? Are you happy with the progression of that? The kids learning the new plays that you've got?
I am. I think we showed that at Spellman, which I know we'll get to in a minute. But I'm pretty comfortable with that, and have a couple of wrinkles when teams go zone on us now too that we didn't have in place when the season began. So I think our arsenal is starting to get where it needs to be, and now it's just a question of execution.
Right. Your sophomore, Javon Thomas, last 3 or 4 games, he's really coming along here, and I think when your concern was offense, you wanted more offense, and he's starting to light it up, and that's only going to bring your offensive level right up there, because Andy has been steady for you the whole season. But Javon Thomas hitting his threes, he had 29 in that Case game, the best game in a Wareham uniform. You've got to be happy with his play.
I am. Javon lit it up, and early on he really helped us. They went to a diamond and one on Andy early, first team to do that, and Javon shot them right out of that.
Yeah, he sure did.
With a few quick three-pointers, and that was the end of that diamond and one.
Yeah, he had 4 3-pointers in the first half. He had 20 points. And at the free throw line, he was 7 for 8.
Right, which is huge.
Yeah, and you need that because your boys are going to be going to the free throw line an awful lot.
Javon's a high-volume shooter, I'll put it that way. We're trying to get him to learn to discern between the good shot and the one that you don't pass up and the one that you have to pass up sometimes.
Yeah, tough. Easy to say, but I mean to teach. But
if he scores 29 and shoots a high percentage,
can't really complain, right?
Okay.
Interesting part of that game, though. At the end of the game, you got to bring in a sophomore and a freshman, the Sims, Jamal Sims, and Ashante Tavares, the freshman. 5 points. He hit a 3-pointer. He had a steal and assist. What do you see in this freshman that's been doing very well down at the JV level for the first part of the season for Stephen Faniel? What do you like about him?
I see a basketball player. I see someone that follows his own shot better than anyone in the program right now. If he misses a shot, notice how many times he's the one that gets the rebound off his own miss. He's fearless. I mean, there's a learning curve that he has to go through. He doesn't know a lot of our offenses yet, and he's learning them. But I like the fact that he doesn't back down. He plays defense. And he's aggressive on the offensive boards. Yeah,
we know you like defense, and that's why you've been using Marquis Silver in there, and you're not afraid to use either. Well, I mean, we'll go right into the Spellman game on Saturday afternoon. You brought in the kid we were just talking about, Jamal Sims, the freshman, not at the end of the game when it was really what we would call garbage time.
Right.
You brought him in when the game was still in question.
Yeah, he played at
Spellman was still there.
The fourth quarter for us.
It was still single digits, and he came in. So I mean, you're showing confidence in that boy. But what a athletic game that was in Spellman. I mean, I really enjoyed the game. Back and forth, incredible. The first quarter, 2-point quarter, 16-14. We're in Brockton against Cardinal Spellman, a non-league contest. Spellman's struggling a little. They got a tough schedule. I mean, they lost 3 games by 2 points. They're coming in against you guys. And
I don't feel too bad about that.
Yeah, I know. It's like we call it a revenge factor from the game you guys had them last year in the Wareham tournament by 18 at one point, and they came back and won the game. But but they got a lot of good players out there. Junior classmen, they're all coming back next year except for the guy John Como. But Andy White had another big game for you Saturday.
I thought Andy was the best player on the court by far, and he did it in foul trouble.
Yeah.
He had 4 fouls all fourth quarter.
That's true. I forgot about that too. You had to bring him.
And we rewrote him in the fourth quarter, though, as long as we just knew that without him on the court, it changes our offense so dramatically. And he was taking to the ball to the hole with such aggressiveness and going hard and finishing and hitting his foul shots. And on the other end, he was pulling down defensive rebound after defensive rebound. Yeah, I just said he pulled down a bundle of rebounds in that game, and in the game before. He's been actually the last 2 games he's been
pulling down rebounds, and that's a stat you kind of forget about, don't you?
It's a very important one.
Yeah.
He's probably our best defensive rebounder.
Yeah. Met a guy 6 foot, maybe, stretching to 6'1", 6 foot, and he's jumping there Saturday against guys that can go to the ceiling all much. You got the Nick George kid,
Right.
the St. Louis kid that can jump. I mean, they got a very talented group out there. That was fun to watch. Matt Griggs, I mean, he's just doing a great job back there, handling the ball. I mean,
and he covered Real number 5, who I thought was Spellman's best player, one of their best players. And the game I scouted him, he had 26 points against Marshfield. And Matt does a great job in anyone he covers.
Yeah, he sure does.
He really does.
I know, and I think he surprises the other guys that are out there on how high he can get up with that wingspan and block the ball.
Absolutely.
And Javon Thomas had another great game, 22 points, 4 3-pointers, 4 in the second half. He had a big 3-pointer when they got close there at the end, right? To stop their momentum.
Right.
They had a little run
like
going.
4 or 5 or 6.
I was going to say,
3.
Yeah.
To give us that.
Yeah, it was kind of, exactly, amazing. And like I said, you brought the freshman in, and Marquis Silver. When you brought those guys in, those guys, you're basically looking for to match their speed, or
Yeah,
defense.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It depends. Matt Griggs was in a little bit of foul trouble too at one point.
Right,
so
exactly. He had 3.
Trying to protect him from picking up another cheap foul. So it brought in another ball handler. In theory, someone who's not afraid to shoot it as well. I think everyone played that game, and it wasn't like I had a group come in the third quarter. Was a pivotal part of that game with
Mark Perot came in, and
Jay Sean Morgan,
right,
and
Jay Sean came
all
in
at the same time, and they did a nice job buying us some minutes.
They sure did.
That we did when we had people with foul trouble on the bench.
Yeah, because you had, like you said, you had Andy with 4, right? You lose him, and there's your best player on the court, right? And so, incredible win, 72-62 over Spellman. You gave them 5 losses, and I know one of the parents very well, and they were pretty upset because they're worried about tournament time. You know, and they got a tough schedule.
They're going to be on the bubble.
Yeah, they sure are.
But they're a team you do not want to play early in the first round. If you're a high seed and you have to play them, you're going to be sorry.
You're going to be in trouble. They're very athletic, and we're going to see them again.
That's right.
But at home, though, so that's going to be fun to see. Love to watch Spellman play. Coach Joyce, I know he'd like to see a little more consistency out of his team, but we got a big one tomorrow night, and we're going to Apponequet. Last part of the first half of the South Coast Conference schedule. They're playing well now.
They are.
They're 4-3 in the conference and 5-3, I think, overall. So we got the 2 big guys, Kevin Falakey and Matt Anderson, 6'5", 6'7". I think Matt Anderson's starting to score a little more. Falakey's been probably one of their best scorers. They got 2 guys, Charlie Roberts and Loranga guy up at forward, and I think their point guard is Chad Goucher. Is that the guy who controls?
Yeah, was a great football player here at Wareham High School.
Yeah.
So back in the beginning of the year, even before we were ready to play them, was worried about Apponequet's height and their size.
Yeah.
And that still worries me a lot. We've got to be able to rebound and defend them in the low post.
Right. So that's going to be a big game. And Coach Cabuccio, 18 seasons? Is that true? He's got 1 more than you, or?
No? He was.
Or was that 14?
He was after me.
He was after you?
I don't know how many years after.
But big game on the road against Lakeville, and like I said earlier, there's a big game down in Bourne, which we can't see because we got to go to Lakeville to watch that one. So, Coach, good luck.
Thank you very much.
And on your way to a practice, and hopefully we're going to be able to control our own destiny here coming down the stretch.
All we can do is take care of the games we can take care of now.
Right.
We've got to take care of Apponequet, we hope.
So anyway, thanks for watching the show Off the Court. I'm Paul Geigle. He's Coach Brogioli. The producer is Christian Fernandez. And hopefully you come back next week and watch another episode. And thanks for watching. Good night.